nobody has been honest about it. We've all been phony because we've been hiding behind our egos. You see, the only thing a nigga got left in America is his ego. He doesn't have any political power. He doesn't have any economic power. He doesn't have any feudal power. He has a little bit of influence through his music and culture, and that's it.
What was the name of that video he did? It's like, what? Some BET, why young women are attracted to money? What was it?
Yeah, why young, how older men use money to attract young women.
Yeah, I was like, boy, it's taking everybody forever to catch up to this concept, man. It's like, marriage is a business. Like, yeah, of course it is. Whenever you deal with it's business.
It's business.
Whenever you deal with it's business, man. You know what I'm saying? The transactions goes both ways. Somebody trying to get something for something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know, so, and talking about sympathy, man, back in October of last year, once again, I had my girl Sweets hit me up, man. I don't know if I told you this. It was at a podcast, but it was in my Patreon and shit, man. She hit me up. She was she had moved up to Michigan again, man. And, you know, I hadn't seen her in like 2 or 3 years, man. You know, she had got that settlement from when her son had passed away. Mm-hmm. And, you know, she made all these promises that she was going to come and see me. We was going to kick it. And once again, you know, I don't put too much stock in what these broads say, you know what I mean? Because, you know, it's just talk. That's just how they do it. I was trying to run some sort of game, but I ain't tripping. But she had disappeared. Then all of a sudden, last year in October, she hit me up. It was like, "Hey, bud, what you doing? Yada yada." I'm like, you know how we do it. What you want?
What you want?
What you want? You know what I'm saying? So she was trying to get some money out of me, and before I went ahead and dug in my pockets, because you know, a lot of people are like, "Why you always giving these money?" Because number one, they put in work for the Mac City Empire. So whenever they up, you know, I bless them. I just give them money, man. You know what I mean? That's just a decent thing to do. But you know, what comes with that is a degree of respect. You still got to be respectful. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I bless you, you know, you still got to respect the game. So she hit me up, and she was up. She needed some money, and I was just like, well, you know, I ain't seen you in like 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean? And now you just pop up with some money. She was like, I'm up. I need help. I said, I'll tell you what. I'll do this on one condition. Send me a picture of the tattoo that you got on your leg. Because remember, she got my name, Big Mike, tattooed on her leg. So I was thinking, I ain't seen the this long. I'm figuring she probably got the tattoo covered up. Her probably made her cover up the tattoo.
Of course.
So, of course, she tried to run game, say, okay, I still got the tattoo. I'm going to hit you up. I'm going to take a picture. And then, you know, like an hour later, she had to come clean. She texted me back. Was like, I got to admit it. I can't lie. I don't have a tattoo no more. I was like, I figured as much. So she was like, well, what that mean? I mean, I can't get no help? I was just like, nah, you can't get no help. I'm like, that. Like, I don't see you for 2 or 3 years. You know what I'm saying? You don't say hi. I don't require much out of a but still be civil. You know what I mean?
Well, at least be respectful.
Be civil. Be
considerate.
Yeah, considerate. And then you get the tat covered up. And then you try and run game and make it seem like you had the tat. You know, try and milk me out of some money. I'm like, Nah, I'm good, man. So she got mad, blocked me on Facebook, and then I think maybe like 2 weeks ago, Nish hit me up. Nish, like, you know, matter of fact, before that happened, Nicole called me and tell me that Sweet's boyfriend had passed away, had just died of pneumonia. You know what I mean? You know, this the dude that she swerved me for, right? Mm-hmm. So. But I ain't petty, but still, you know, once again, I don't have no sympathy for you because, you know, you've been trying to run this game, you've been acting funky, and you act like you don't know it. You know what I mean? So when Nish hit me up, she basically told me that, oh, girl, Sweet's with my number again. I'm like, she don't need my number. I gave it to her, she lost it, or she erased it or deleted it, or whatever the so evidently it ain't that important to have. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be her emotional tampon. I'm done. I'm done with that. You know, I've been righteous with you ever since I met you. Whenever you needed something, I was there. Whenever you needed to talk about that, I was there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be your but I'm still trying to help. I'm respecting the game by helping you, you know, whatever you need help with.
You following the rules of the Sidetrick agreement.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The whole thing is, you have to change how you do business. Mm. They said they found us on some they found Mac City on something called Treat Your Trick Right.
Right.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what I'm proposing to you females. You can't run that especially on older guys. Mm-hmm. You can't run that on a that's over 40. I mean, if you have to use common sense, 9 times out of 10, if you and that don't have a primary relationship, he know you calling because you need something. Mm-hmm. When we see your number in the cell phone, in the call ID in the cell phone, we know what you want when we see your number. We know you're calling with your hands out. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have to change your ethics in how you deal with the quote-unquote lane or the trail, or whatever you want to call them. You're going to have to change your way of dealing with those men. Mm-hmm. Because that kind of that sweet and that is not going to work anymore. Again, these will kill you. Seriously. You can't get away with that anymore. This is not your day. These will kill you. They will gut you and leave you laying somewhere in a pool of blood. You can't do that anymore. You cannot run that on anymore. That day is over with. These just as soon would let you die than help you. So you have to change. This is symbolic. This is the epitome of what I'm talking about. You can't run game like that anymore. You can't get that off anymore. Keep that you got, because again, in this story, where is he now? He's dead. Mm-hmm. He's not here. Right. They're not here. The that you love are not here. And the who you with, they're not coming either. You're just in a up position. The only time you can ever look for marriage is probably when you're in your 50s. And that's an extremely liberal point of view from the perspective of thinking that you're going to get married at 50. Because the way people look at marriage has changed. They said that marriage is a business arrangement, and it is. So if it's a business arrangement, how do I get a return on my investment by with you? How do I get a return on my investment if you don't know how to make a home? How do I get a return on my investment if you don't know how to manage money? How do I get a return on my investment if you don't know how to cook? What purpose do you serve? Okay, well, you serving up. Well, I go out in the street and buy some. Mm-hmm. What are you offering? What do you bring to the table? What skin do you have in the game for this business investment? What do you have to offer to make this situation profitable? You don't have too much of nothing to make this, because you never had a family. A lot of y'all, your backgrounds are the same. Your personalities may vary, but it's always the same. Daddy is not around. Mama may, and quiet as it's kept, mama's not around. Mm-hmm. Mama may or may not be in the home. A lot of y'all are being raised by best friends. Mama's best friend, this person's best friend. Your mama's a lot of time in prison. You know, the I was telling you about with the when the on a period, mm-hmm. Her mama died in prison. Right. So she been out here on the street since she was 16. You see. So quiet as it's kept, they've never seen a family structure. So how can you do what you've never seen? How can you have what you've never experienced? So they don't know how to make a home, and they with that don't know how to make a home. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They're getting children by that don't know what it's like to be men or be responsible, because they coming from the same background.
And of course, you know, they calling us to mend whatever or fix whatever's broken, man. Mm-hmm. But allow me to also say, man, because I don't want nobody thinking, you know, I'm a petty ass, you know, because, you know, Sweets lost her longtime boyfriend. I think they was together maybe like 5-6 years or whatever, man. And I love her to death, man. And I'm sorry for her loss, and that's what I told Nish. I'm like, well, you know, I'm sorry for her loss, but, you know, we really don't have nothing to discuss, man, because, you know, the disrespect, as far as I'm concerned, you know, done reached an all-time high. And, you know, when that happens, you know what, Tony, you know, we did a show on that. No one will let him go. So I'm gonna just have to let her go, man, and I hope everything turns out all right, man. But I'm not about to be sitting up on the phone with you, you know what I mean, while you crying, you know, about your situation, you know what I mean. And it sounds cold-hearted, you know, but I'm not about to do it. You know, you had your chance to go ahead, you know, and just be righteous with me. You know, all she had to do, man, is just be civil, man. You know, like I said, 2-3 years ago, man, when she was, you know, because what I was doing is I was calling her, you know, I didn't want that. I was, because, you know, this when her son had died, and I was just calling just to check on her, making sure everything was okay, you know, and she was swerving me, not returning the phone calls and shit. I'm like, all right, then, you know what I mean? Now, whether she was doing that because her nigga forbade it, or maybe that was on her own accord or whatever, but, you know, you can't gotta ignore me and swerve me and then come and fuck with me when it's just convenient for you. You know what I'm saying? It's not about to pop off like that. They know how I get down. Nah, that's not happening. So when this shit just happened with her, you know, losing her dude, man, you know, I really wanted to pick up that phone and, you know, talk to her. You know what I mean? Because whenever she had problems, man, I was there for her. You know, I was on that, people would call it some simp, but I really did have genuine love for majority of these females, man. But most of the time, you know how they get down, it's really not reciprocated because they use men as utilities. They don't really see you as a person for the most part. They just see you for what the they can get out of you.
They see you as a come up.
That's right.
But you see, the thing is, your compassion, and here's what I'm big on. Your compassion should never be a crutch.
Right.
Your compassion, you should never allow someone to use your compassion to, and again, that just happened. Again, not to beat a dead horse, but boys, Watkins, your compassion cannot be used to enslave you.
Right.
And that's where a lot of dudes get it up. They don't understand when to be compassionate and when not to be compassionate. You have to hold a accountable for her injustices. They have to be tried for their crimes. They have to have a day of reckoning. They have to be given due process, because here's the thing, if you begin to make them believe that whatever intangible they possess is greater than your moral character or your desire to be respected as a man, you're done anyway. You can't do anything successfully. You can't even trick successfully with it. And that's what we've been saying for years, and nobody understood that. That just because you tricking, that doesn't mean that you do not make a bitch respect you. It is absolutely imperative that she understands, look, I'm not the one. We're doing an exchange here. If you feeling funky about this, if you feeling some kind of way about this, I'll give you $10 for gas money and you get on out the door and go home.
Right.
But you're not gonna come in my spot and disrespect me in my spot. That's the part that they got. They want to engage your compassion. They want you to be compassionate, but they want to use your compassion as a tool for your destruction. And that just, again, it's not that day is gone. You do that today, and some of these motherfuckers, they will kill you. They will literally kill you. You cannot do that anymore. So to believe that you're going to be able to step on a just because you feel bad about having to spread your legs, that it's a wrap. It's a wrap for that. It's a wrap for that. So if you one of these that got all this pride, then good. You stay over here, and you do what you have to do. You take your chances with this that's going to be out in the next couple of months, or out in the next couple of years, or with that is your best friend or your girlfriends or somebody in your chain in the next few. You take your chances with that. But when you deal over here and you're trying to survive, you have to have a different set of standards. You have to have a different approach to dealing with this dude, because now it's based on survival. It is not based on how you feel about it. It is not based upon your subjective desires anymore. You save that for the that ain't gonna be around. You save that for your alpha male. Somebody sent me an email, and I'm not going to say his name. He said, Trump is a power trick's best friend, and indeed he is. There's no question he is.
Uh-huh.
And he said that, hey, they're going to be forced to act right because Pookie and Ray Ray are not going to be around. And I cautioned him. I said, well, the knife cuts both ways. Because just as they're going to be desperate, they're going to be thirsty and scandalous too. Mm-hmm. That swings both ways because, see, if they think that they can get over on you, you will set yourself up to be robbed. Mm-hmm. You will set yourself up to be... See, that swings, it's not just you getting some for some money. You have to understand the machinations that go on inside of this female's mind. Where's her mind at any given moment? How she sees you is in direct relation to how she will treat you when she's face to face with you. So if you're in a situation where this is desperate, she's going to say whatever she has to say in order to get what she has to get, but you're going to have to at all times keep that healthy paranoia in the back of your mind and say, what if? Mm-hmm. What if, this got a outside waiting to kick in my door? Mm-hmm. What if this gonna call me to this spot? Not too long ago, there was a 41-year-old dude in the newspaper here. Mm-hmm. They went to with a 17-year-old got his sucked and he got shot. Right. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You always have to keep that paranoia in the back of your mind when you're dealing with them. So that sword cuts. It's not just they're desperate, it's they're desperate and they're scandalous. Or what you'll do, you'll set yourself up to become a cuckold if you're not careful, because she will be coming over. See, you were being nice to the Hydra. Mm-hmm. You were being nice. See, because you're Snuggles, the kinder, gentler pimp. That's what you are. You see what I'm saying?
I take care of my babies, man.
You're a compassionate man.
I love them.
But to some dudes, their compassion becomes their undoing because they never collect. They never collect the arrearages. Mm-hmm. That there's never a payoff. You just constantly giving and giving and giving and giving and giving to this. Now she accepts the fact that she just getting and getting and getting and getting and getting and getting and getting, and she never has to put any work in for it. That's where that contempt sets in. Mm-hmm. That's where all of that hate and venom and resentment set in. Even though you're doing a lot of cool and slick shit for her, she don't appreciate that because she knows in the back of her mind that she's obligated to reciprocate. So every time she's allowed to slip out without paying what she owes, she begins to respect you less and less and less. Right. You see. Mm-hmm. So it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, but you have to stack the cards in your favor to the guy that emailed me. And it's a situation to whereas you have to be careful, because if you just giving and giving and giving and giving and never getting, you're a cuckold now. The done turned you into a cuckold. Right. Because you're just there and she's tapping your wallet, but she's going out here Pookie and Ray Ray, but she's not giving you any dividends. There's no payoff for that. She's constantly in arrearages with you, and that debt is never being settled, and the steadily, increasing the debt ceiling. Mm-hmm. She's steadily stacking up the arrearages, but there's a payoff elsewhere. So again, when you're tricking, understand that cuts both ways. If you do not put down a set of standards, rules, and regulations, you're going to set yourself up to be played. Now, back to the hoes. If you don't start enacting or acting in a manner that is semi-honorable to the that you know you going to need, you going to starve. That's just what it is. Now, you can play with it. You can be rational. You can think that, he's not going anywhere. He'll do this. I'm going to do that. Because that's what they think. Okay, I'll make it up. Well, no, you may not get an opportunity to make it up. Because, again, this is not your day. Men are not the most patient with you anymore. The era of trying to understand you is done. Now, the way you see him as a utility, he sees you as a utility. And what's much more dangerous is that he sees you as a disposable utility. And I don't mean disposable as in he don't need you. Disposable as in you are a waste of life. That's what I'm telling you. So if you're going to survive in the age of Trump, you have to have a Sidetrick agreement. You have to have, and don't try to, again, do not try to make him your main, because both you and him know that will never work. Mm-hmm. That will never work. You're going to need a Sidetrick agreement with an average that's working and earning some type of decent income that you can depend on. You keep the you want, keep him, fuck him all you like, but you're going to need an agreement with this over here, and you're going to have, I'm going to say this slow, you're going to have to be fair. I know,
what?
Again, yeah,
what?
That's impossible.
Yeah, that ain't never gonna happen.
That's impossible as that may sound.
ain't never gonna
you're
happen.
gonna have to be fair. You're gonna have to start acting honorably. You're gonna have to be fair.
Did you say
to
honorable?
Honorable. Yep.
Nigga.
As impossible of a task as you may think that is, you're going to have to start behaving honorably.
I'm gonna have to pull an O'Shea on that one. Stop the show.
Stop the show.
Stop the show. Man, bitch ain't gonna be honorable.
You have to start behaving honorably, because at this point, realistically, you don't have a choice anymore. You don't have a choice in the matter, because if you're not going to be honorable, you just won't be here. Period. You will not be in a position to where you will be able to get the resources you need to thrive. Now, and to you want to the females, I have 4 degrees and I make over $80,000 a year. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you with the nice a government jobs where you making 50 and 60 grand. I'm not talking to you corporate. I ain't talking to you. I'm not talking to you. If you're feeding yourself, and if you have a high income, a high earning, or a high paying position or job in corporate America or government, I am not talking to you. I am not talking to you. I'm talking to these hood chicks, both black, white, yellow, brown, red. You're going to have to become more practical in terms of how you deal with if you're going to survive out here in this age. There's nothing coming that's going to help you.
Shit.
Nothing.
This shit even applies to them higher echelon because the more you make, the more you spend. So a lot of them they gonna be needing side trick agreements too, man.
Yeah, agreed.
Because
they don't understand. A lot of them, quiet as it's kept, don't understand how to manage money either.
They sure don't.
So a lot of them you're going to need. But see, the thing is, the that earn the higher income usually have, they have a larger ego. I don't have to take this now, unless if it's a thug. Because in every case, every higher income earning that I've ever seen always has the resident thug. There's always and that's the nigga who's spending the money. That's the that's up her credit. That's the nigga that's doing all of that shit, and he may or may not be her. You see, so she getting played on the other end. So you're right. She's gonna need herself a side trick agreement. But the problem is gonna be humbling, just like with the hood, humbling your ego. You're gonna have to break that and come to the table, because again, that era of I just love you so much. I just want you around. I just want to know if you're okay. No, Superman is dead. Superman is dead. There are no more heroes coming for you. There are no white knights on horses anymore. All the knights are dead, and they chop the horses up and they barbecue them. It's a wrap. No one's coming. They're not coming. So if you want to survive, you're going to need a side trick agreement. You will not be able to function without a side trick agreement. You will not be able to make it without a side trick agreement. So I suggest, I'm not telling you to lower your expectations. I'm not telling you to lower your standards. I'm telling you you're going to have to change your conduct, because if you do not change your conduct, and some people say, well, that's their nature, that's their nature. Okay, well, it may indeed be your nature, but I know that things evolve. There's a such thing as it evolving or adapting, if you will, to your environment. And I'm going to tell you, females are master chameleons. The females that I've been able to observe, they are masters of adapting to whatever environment that they're in. So I know that they can do it in spite of what their nature is. I know a bitch will do whatever she has to do or be whatever she has to be in order to get whatever she needs.
Best manipulators of all time.
The best manipulators of all time.
That's their biological imperative. And once you have a creature who is not necessarily endowed physically to dominate, which is a she, is going to have to find mental and spiritual ways to be able to bend men or bend the opposition to her will. And that's that manipulation technique, man.
Yes. You're going to have to find a way. Because that that you're not that's done. That's done, because that will cost you your life. So I would suggest that you find a way to adapt to the situation. I'm not going to tell you to lower your standards. I'm going to tell you to adapt to the situation. Keep that over here that you love. You keep him. But when you're dealing with this dude, and I don't care whether he has a Harvard education, I don't care whether he has a Howard education, I don't care whether he has a UPS occupation, I don't care what that may be, you're going to have to find a way to exist with that dude. Because if you don't find a way, if you cannot find a way to find some type of common ground and come to an agreement with that, I mean, it's a wrap for you. It's a wrap for you. So, I mean, you can keep your swag. If swag is what gets your panties wet, wonderful. If that does it for you, wonderful. But I will suggest to you, I would admonish you that in this era, you're going to need a bit more than swag to survive. That's it.
Let me go ahead and interject a little something, man. It's called the metaphysics of cyber pimping, man. You know, because a lot of cats don't really understand what I've been doing through the years and how I get down, you know. Because I've gotten this email every now and then. It's like, man, why you be blessing them? Why you be giving them money? And you know how we get down. We pretty much make, you know, a female work for what she get, man. But for the most part, it's incumbent upon me. You know, I can't speak for nobody else, man, but I got to keep the scales balanced, man. You know what I mean? Since I'm basically getting money off these females for years, a lot of times it requires me to go ahead and just give back without them so-called doing anything. You know what I mean? So I want to get that straight right off the grip, man, for cats to think that I'm simping and cupcaking for. Remember, these are females that have put in work for me, you know, through the decade, man. You know what I mean? So whenever they call, whenever they f***ed up, whenever they in a rut, whenever they in a bind, that's what I do for them, man. You know, I try my best to be there for whatever they need. That's called keeping the scales balanced, man. You know what I mean? So that's how we do it. That's the metaphysics of this cyber pimping, man. You give back to that which you take. And that's one of the main problems with pimps, street pimps, is they keep the scales unbalanced. A lot of them end up crazy and end up in prison and end up, you know, just in all sorts of up,
hooked up, strung out, on Skid Row,
because they don't give back to that which they take. And, you know, and I'm really observant of that. And I was really cognizant of that. Like whatever from whatever I take, it is incumbent that, you know, I give something back. You know what I mean? So that's how I get down. So this ain't no simping, this ain't no cupcaking, and I really do have genuine concern and love for them, even though, you know, the female nature does not reciprocate it. You know, I still can't change who the I am. You know what I mean? Those who I love, I love. You know what I mean? You can't really help who you love. You know what I mean? So really, I'm going to, you know, keep doing what I do. I'm going to keep looking out within reason. You know what I mean? But Tony, you hit the nail on the head, man. My patience is short.
Yes.
It's getting very short. You know, I haven't really seen much of them lately. All of them have basically grown up. You know, I met most of them when they was just getting out of their teens, man, 19, 20. You know, a lot of them, you know, they up in their 30s now. They grown women. And of course, they feeling some type of way about what they've done. You know what I mean? So, you know, they harbor that inner resentment, that psychological resentment. You know, so yeah, they don't really see me the same light that they see me, man. But, you know, like I said, I still want to keep the scales balanced, and whenever they need help, you know, I want to be there for them. But within reason, if you're acting greasy, if you're acting disrespectful, lose my number.
Well, let's go back to what you said.
Right.
That the giving, I don't understand where people ever believe that they could get something for free.
Right.
I don't understand how people can believe that. Even the dudes, there are some dudes that are just, they're skillful, they're able to seduce women. I get that. You're an attractive dude, or you may be able to say something audible that responds to a woman's inner nature, or responds to her subconscious or her psyche, that will cause you to receive sexual gratification. Okay, I give that to you, but I will tell you this. There's nothing for free on this planet. Nothing is free on this planet. If you open a savings account and don't put any, if you open a checking account and you write checks with no money in the bank, you go into jail. I mean, I don't understand what's so difficult to understand about that.
Right.
You don't get something for nothing. You don't go